What's up, Brian? Hope you're well. What up, everyone else? What up, people? It's your boy Chig from Unit Eagle Eye coming to again with a brand new video. And this time it is another late night with Chig where I talk to you about Arsenal news, prominent news relating to the Arsenal. Now, to be honest with you, there is not any real new news that has taken place over the last, shall we say, 24 hours. It's predominantly been news that had actually broken yesterday and that I'm going to kind of address today. But I am going to touch on each story very quickly. I won't go on for a million like ages because I need to jump in a shower and then get some sleep, and then I've got a big day of presenting to my manager tomorrow. So wish me luck on that one. So I want to make sure I have good sleep today. But I also promise you guys a show. I want to make sure I deliver on that. So let's start off with the title of the story, and that is Aubameyang. By the way, guys, you know the rules. You know the rules by now. Please do stick a like on this video. You guys from my last two videos have been awesome. Thank you. Genuinely. As I always say, for me, donations are fantastic because for every donation I get, you know, I buy things like this. I hire people to design things like intro, outros for me. One of the things that I plan to do next, for example, is to do an intro, outro for my movie channel. So that is underway as we speak. And hopefully soon I should have a new intro, outro for Chig Flicks, which, in case you're wondering, go to my Chig Flicks movie channel, which is down below in the description. And then obviously the MMA channel will be the next one that I do an intro, outro for. And that's also down below. The link to that is below. So I'm working, but every bit of donation I get, I plug back into my channels. Having said all of that, another thing that's better than money, them likes. And I know that sounds weird because it's free. You don't necessarily have to do that much, but it helps so much grow the channel. So I know people hate it when I start talking about likes, and you know, these days what I've decided to do is explain why I keep asking for them likes. For every video that I make, the interaction is so important. You know, even the comments, the likes, hell, the dislikes. If you don't like the video, it all helps the channel. All the traction helps the channel. So please don't be offended if I keep banging on about it. It's just important to grow the channel, and that's your way of donating. So never feel bad that you can't give money to the channel. It's tight. It's that time of the year, like where, you know, you're still recovering from Christmas. Money ain't flowing like it should be flowing. The best thing you can do next to that, to actually physically donating, is them likes, because it grows the channel. So everybody that is in, especially when I do these shows that are late, not everybody can catch it live late. So the best way you can allow other people to catch it, by drilling the crap out of them likes. So I hope I've explained that. I've decided not to just ask for a like without explaining why. So that's why I'm asking. Anyway, let's talk about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. So the 30-year-old striker has obviously been in contract negotiations with the club. And quite honestly, today there's some conflicting stories, because last night it came out that contract talks had essentially stalled, with the idea that Aubameyang is open to staying, but he obviously wants to find out where the club finish. The growing feeling being that if we don't make the Champions League, he's off. Let's face it, we're not exactly favourites in either pathway, whether it's the Europa League or the actual league. We're not necessarily favourites to make the Champions League in either route. So it's going to be a long road for us if we're going to keep Aubameyang. Now, you're probably sat there thinking, well, Chig, you must be happy. I think people have got it twisted, because I said that if we had a £70 million bid come in, And I've told you before I'd take it. Guess what? I'd still take it. But that people have got that twisted. That doesn't mean I want to sell Aubameyang. No, that just means I'm realistic in the sense that I don't want us. And one of my biggest bugbears, and it should be yours for flip's sake, right? One of my biggest bugbears is that the best we could get for Alexis Sanchez was Henrik Mkhitaryan in exchange. Whereas 6 months before he was going for 60 million. That the best that we could get for Aaron Ramsey was nothing. For all my beef with Aaron Ramsey, we should have had a 40 million minimum for his services. This is the type of mismanaging. And then you have people, listen, for me, I love certain people. I love certain people on AFTV, but you got people like Troops that don't understand why people are calling for him to bounce. Because, bruh, you still got to face this problem this time next year anyway. Except if Aubameyang stays over the summer, you ain't going to receive a dime. I'd rather get something and try and reinvest it. And to say, oh, well, you're not going to replace his goals. How do you know unless you try? How do you actually know that? They said that when Henry left. And yeah, for as much as I could not stand him when he played for us, I had so much frustration. We had Adebayor, we had Van Persie, both of which were 20-plus goals a season. Strikers. They always say that we can't replace the goals. They always say that. Arsenal have always been a team that can replace goals with goals. But you don't know until you try. It's just, I don't like this being held by ransom by a player. Oh, because a player doesn't want to sign on because the team hasn't made Champions League. Guess what? That player was also part of the team that didn't make the Champions League. If he was really about this life and committed to this club, it shouldn't matter where we finish. And that's why I don't like the idea of begging him. Yes, I think he's a fantastic goal scorer. This guy is hungry. You can tell. My man is about looking to win this goal scoring golden boot thing by himself, like properly this time. Like you could tell he's on this thing. And for me, nothing makes me happier. No problem. That's what I want my strikers to be like. But at the same time, more than anything, I want my Arsenal players to be committed. And yeah, we're not playing well. We're ninth for flip's sake. Clearly we are having problems. But at the same time, you were part of that team that was underproducing and that is still trying to recover. And if you are the captain of this club and you are really committed to this club, you shouldn't want to go anywhere. You should want to say to yourself, he said the words, he wants to be an Arsenal legend. Those were his words. So for me, I've said this yesterday and I'll say this again. If I was Arsenal Football Club, I'll come to them and I'll say, right, this is £300,000 a week. This is your take it or leave it offer. We can't do anything else. We can't do any more. But we want to show you that we think you're worth it. This is the contract we want to offer you. And this is where you finish your career. Give us the rest of your career. And build this team around him and past him, around Martinelli, around Saka, who also, by the way, needs to sign his contract. But ultimately, if he says no, I'm not worried. There's life past them. Aubameyang's a great character, but I'm not blinded, or I suppose maybe I don't have a relationship to keep with him. So I suppose I can just be as honest and as true as possible. And that's not a shot at Troops. Like I say, I like Troops. And I like a lot of the Arsenal Fan TV guys. Everybody knows the ones I don't like, right? But at the same time, I'm just going to be real with it. Like, why are we begging him to stay? I would say offer him a take it or leave it deal. If he's not on staying, you sell him. And obviously the club that are being linked with him very closely is Inter Milan. Inter Milan are obviously they are preparing potentially for one of their players to go to Barcelona. The irony of that being Barcelona were the ones that started this whole mess in the first place. They were sniffing around Aubameyang for most of the year. That intensity increased from December to January. In January, they made an inquiry. Arsenal obviously told them to suck their mum. And then they decided to switch tact and say, why are we going for a 30-year-old when we should be going for a 23-year-old? So they decided to target the Inter Milan player who I've forgotten the name of. Is it Rodrigo? Rodriguez? I know it's a South American name. Guys, tell me, help me out in the chat room. What's the Inter Milan player Barcelona want? The striker now. I can't remember his name. Help me out, chat room. Come on. Give it to me. Give it to me. Anyway, they wanted him. While the chat room think about it and let me know. They basically have decided, all right, well, if we're going to lose this player, we need to prep on our side. And they've obviously identified Aubameyang. So it is what it is. But yes, I agree with you, Abdallah. Yes, you do need to keep your best players, but to a certain point. So if he doesn't want to stay, I wouldn't break the bank for him. I feel a bit uncomfortable giving him 300,000, but at least 300,000 is a good show of intent that, listen, we value you highly. We want you to stay. Here is a deal that shows you want to stay. If he turns it down, then at that point, it's then about our terms. We need to then sell in order to improve the team on our terms, not his. Why is he thinking of not signing firstly? Is the money too low? Well, so the belief is twofold. The belief is he wants to see where they end up in the Champions League. And then secondly, he wants to see how the team is strengthened in the summer. Those are the things that he believes would convince him to stay. So it's not so much a money issue. It's more it's almost like very similar to the Van Persie situation. What are you going to do to improve the team, though? So, yeah. Big up to TD Shifts. I see you, my bro. Who would you sign as a replacement for him? Well, I see people saying Timo Werner. I don't know if we're going to get him. Obviously, we're sniffing a lot around this Jonathan David guy. His agent actually came out. This is one of the stories I wanted to talk about today, and basically said that he believes that the jump to Arsenal would be too big, and that they'd be looking for a slight step down before going to the likes of Arsenal. United have also declared that they're interested in Jonathan David. Remember, 7 clubs, including us, are interested in him, but we had no idea what those 7 clubs were. So I think over the next few weeks, we'll start to learn. For those who don't know who Jonathan David is, he is, I think he's Bayer Leverkusen striker. He scored 21 goals, 10 assists. Like, he's got mad stats. Keeping in mind it's February. He scored that much. So, yeah. Maybe someone like that. Martinelli, who knows? Farmer side Inter. Who would you replace? Who would you want to sign? Okay, I just answered that. Okay. Let's not scrap. I get what you're saying. Okay, so people having arguments to the shifts. It's true though, Taibs too. Those are sucking their mum. We ain't just quite selling them now. Martinez, there you go. Martinez is the Inter Milan striker that Barcelona are looking at. I think he's like 23 years old. That to me is more what Barca should be targeting because they're looking for a Luis Suarez replacement. Lautaro Martinez, that's the one. So let's see what happens. But yeah, very much in the air at the moment in terms of Aubameyang. All right, let me talk about another transfer story. Bear with me. Once again, guys, please do stick a like in this video. I'll come back to that story. So Arsenal and United are interested in Juventus midfielder Blaise Matuidi of Juventus. Obviously, this would have been fine a few years ago. I'm a little surprised that we want him, but it is what it is. So yeah, let's see what happens. Obviously, Juventus have signalled an intent that they want Paul Pogba back. So they've suggested that we'll give you Blaise Matuidi plus money for him, which is obviously good for Arsenal. Arsenal are looking for someone of this sort of mould. Yesterday, you heard me talk about Thomas Partey. A lot of experts believe that it would be a hell of a coup if Arsenal could secure Thomas Partey, because the belief is that he'll want Champions League football as well, and that he's a world-class midfielder, as I spoke about myself. So, yeah, we'll see what happens, but yes, that one could be touch and go. Blaise Matuidi, however, is something that you could potentially see Arsenal doing. I hope it's not something that we are actually looking to execute, but we are being linked with Blaise Matuidi alongside United. Arsenal are also sniffing around, looking at a fullback, and that fullback is called Mark Cucurella. The Gunners could be forced to sign a new left-sided player, with Baku Saka refusing to commit a new deal, and that could change. That could change, though, and Mikel Arteta's hopeful the young prodigy will stay at the Emirates Stadium, which to me is smart. It's smart to just shore up that left side and make sure that if Saka does go, that we are able to have cover. Obviously, the popular thing at the moment is that Aubameyang is playing on that left-hand side. The reason being is simply because they don't believe that Aubameyang